Brothers and sisters, the book of Revelation is one of the most profound and complex books in the Bible, filled with vivid imagery and symbolism. It speaks of the ultimate triumph of good over evil and the return of Jesus Christ. Today I want to simplify some of the key elements in Revelation and explain their meaning. These symbols and events provide hope, warning and insight into God's ultimate plan for humanity. The four living creatures. One of the first striking images we encounter is the four living creatures. These creatures are described as being around the throne of God, each with different faces, one like a lion, one like an ox, one like a man and one like an eagle. They also have wings and are covered with eyes. These creatures symbolize different aspects of creation. The lion represents power and majesty. The ox symbolizes strength and service. The man represents intelligence and wisdom. The eagle stands for swiftness and vision. The eyes all over their bodies signify God's all-seeing nature. He watches over every part of creation. Their constant worship before God shows that all creation exists to glorify Him. The message for us here is that everything in creation points back to God, and like the creatures, we too are called to worship Him in awe and reverence. The seven seals. Next we encounter the seven seals. These seals are opened one by one and each reveals an apocalyptic event. Perhaps the most famous of these events is the appearance of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, representing conquest, war, famine and death. Each horseman symbolizes a form of suffering that humanity has experienced throughout history. The message here is that suffering is part of the brokenness of this world. But Revelation reminds us that these events are part of God's ultimate plan and they will lead to His final judgment. These events should not lead us to fear but to trust in God's plan and maintain our faith, knowing that these are temporary trials. See the seven trumpets. Following the seals we hear the blast of the seven trumpets. Each trumpet brings a new disaster upon the earth, from burning mountains to seas turning to blood and stars falling from the sky. These trumpet blasts are not random acts of destruction. They serve as warnings calling people to repentance. The symbolism of natural disasters shows that even the earth itself cries out for redemption. The seas turning to blood echo the plagues of Egypt, reminding us that God has used judgments before to draw people to Himself. However, those who remain stubborn and unrepentant will face greater consequences. The trumpets serve as an urgent call for us to turn away from sin and return to God. The seven bowls. After the trumpets we see the seven bowls of God's wrath. These bowls are poured out on the earth, bringing devastating plagues, sores, blood-filled seas, scorching heat, darkness and earthquakes. Unlike the trumpets, which are warnings, these bowls are final judgments. They symbolize the completeness of God's justice. The plagues echo the earlier judgments, but this time there is no more opportunity for repentance. It is a solemn reminder that God's patience will not last forever. The seven bowls represent the ultimate defeat of evil and the full outpouring of God's wrath on sin. For believers, this is a message of hope. Evil will not prevail and God will judge with fairness and righteousness. The whore of Babylon. One of the most enigmatic figures in Revelation is the whore of Babylon. She is described in vivid detail sitting on a beast and adorned in riches. Babylon represents a city or system that is opposed to God, full of wealth, immorality and corruption. Babylon is not just a place, it symbolizes the worldly powers and influences that lead people away from God. Throughout history, cities and empires that have opposed God's ways and led people into sin are likened to Babylon. Her downfall as described in Revelation is sudden and total. This image serves as a warning. No matter how powerful or alluring a worldly system may seem, if it is against God, it will ultimately fall. As Christians, we are called to resist the temptations of the world and remain faithful to God, knowing that His kingdom is eternal while the things of this world are temporary. The beast and the false prophet. In Revelation we also encounter the beast and the false prophet. The beast represents evil political powers that dominate and oppress people, while the false prophet symbolizes deceptive religious or ideological movements that lead people away from the truth of God. The beast and the false prophet work together to deceive humanity, forcing them to worship the beast and reject God. They symbolize the ultimate rebellion against God, worldly powers and false teachings that seduce people into forsaking their faith. But in the end, the beast and the false prophet are thrown into the lake of fire, symbolizing the final and complete defeat of all evil powers. The lesson here is clear. No matter how much influence or power evil seems to have, God will bring about its downfall, and those who remain faithful to Him will be victorious. The woman and the dragon. Another important figure is the woman and the dragon. The woman represents the people of God, and the dragon is Satan, the ultimate enemy of God and His people. The dragon attempts to destroy the woman and her offspring, but he is ultimately defeated. This imagery reflects the ongoing struggle between good and evil, but it also shows us that Satan's power is limited. The woman is protected by God, and the dragon's attempts to destroy her are thwarted. This encourages us as believers that while we may face opposition and spiritual attacks, God is our protector and the final victory belongs to Him. The millennium and the new creation. Revelation also speaks of the millennium, 1,000-year reign of Christ on earth where Satan is bound and peace reigns. This symbolizes a period where Christ's rule is fully established. After the millennium, Satan is released for a brief time, but he is quickly defeated and thrown into the lake of fire. The final chapters of Revelation give us a breathtaking vision of the new heaven and new earth. In this new creation there is no more death, sorrow or pain. God will dwell with His people and all things will be made new. This is the ultimate hope for every believer. An eternal future in the presence of God, free from sin, pain and suffering. It reminds us that the trials and tribulations of this life are temporary, and the eternal joy of being with God far outweighs anything we may endure now. What Revelation teaches us. So what does the book of Revelation teach us? At its core, Revelation is a book of hope and victory. It tells us that no matter how dark the world seems, God is in control and His plans will come to pass. Evil will be defeated and God's kingdom will reign forever. It also calls us to be ready. Jesus says multiple times, "Behold, I am coming soon." We do not know the day or the hour, but we are called to live faithfully, always prepared for His return. It reminds us that while the forces of evil may seem strong, they are no match for the power and justice of God. Brothers and sisters, Revelation is not meant to scare us but to give us confidence that God is working His plan, and in the end we will share in His victory. Let us remain faithful, live in hope and look forward to the day when we will see God face to face in the new creation. Thank you and may God bless you.